right, welcome into our second week of our summer mini-series on the estate planning process. Today we're going to be talking about wills and trusts and some foundations of each of those on some commonly asked questions. So first, what are they? And what is the difference between these two vehicles? Well, to begin with, a last will and testament is a legal instrument that allows you to convey your assets and your property, your possessions and belongings to the beneficiaries that are named in your will. You also will name a fiduciary, known as an executor or a personal representative, and their job is to administer those assets through the probate process. A trust is a legal instrument that is different. We have three players. One, the grantor, or the trust creator, the individual that is executing the trust agreement. Two, the legal custodian or fiduciary, known as the trustee, whose job is to manage trust assets for the third player, the beneficiaries of the trust, the individuals who are receiving the assets from the trust. Do I need both? Well, every client, every individual is different. Not everyone needs a trust. It all is very specific to each individual. There are benefits to both, okay? And some of those benefits overlap. A living trust provides many benefits, including privacy, the avoidance of that probate administration process, greater control over asset distribution, but everyone needs a plan, which brings us to the third point. What happens if I don't have one of these instruments, a will or a trust? What is going to happen? Because we know over half of Tennesseans over the age of 60 do not have a will. And there's a state statute that is triggered, and the probate court in the county in which the decedent passed away will actually execute that statute. And this statute does not take into consideration the need of the heirs of a surviving spouse or children. And it does not take into consideration blended families and stepchildren. And there are many cases that we have administered in the past where this is very problematic, and it's not what the decedent would have wanted, but based on the Tennessee law and the state's plan, the distribution did not go according to what they would have wanted. And so it's critically important and that all the viewers are proactive in your estate planning. So what is actually distributed through a will, through the trust? What do we place in a trust? Well, let's take a look, number one, at a will. In the modern context, what is often being distributed through the probate court is real estate. So long as the family, the decedent has actually placed beneficiary designations on their accounts, their qualified accounts, and their other assets such as life insurance and annuities, oftentimes what is remaining that is passing according to the last will and testament is real estate, real property. And so that is going through the probate process to be retitled to the beneficiary's names. And those assets sometimes have to be liquidated. Sometimes they're just transferred legally to the individual named in the will. But other assets too can pass through probate court, specifically if beneficiary designations, payable on death designations have not been left. In a trust, we are retitling assets including real estate, the personal residence, the family farm, property outside of state to this trust, to this conceptual bucket, and also other assets such as bank accounts, life insurance policies, and brokerage accounts. Highly appreciating assets are oftentimes transferred to the trust, or the trust is left as the beneficiary. We often get asked, what if I don't have any living relatives? How then do I fund my trust? What do I do then? Well, that is often very specific on each individual client. Some individuals leave certain bequests to charities, to religious organizations, or other charitable entities. Everybody's different, but there's always a plan, okay? And so regardless if you have living children, there could be other family members or individuals or causes that you want to leave your legacy with, and we can certainly help with that process. Next week, we're going to be talking about the transfer of property. I've alluded to some of that in this video, transferring certain assets to trust, How are assets transferred through the probate process? How do I transfer assets during my lifetime? And is that a good idea? Next week, we're going to be talking about transferring property and the transfer of personal assets. We're going to be posting our blog along with this video to our website. I dive a little bit deeper into the difference between a last will and testament and a trust, so we encourage you all to follow along, and we will see you next week, and we hope that you stay tuned and have a great summer.